Hello everyone, my name is Harut and Hareyan and you're watching Simple Tutoring. Today we're going to be talking about combining like terms in 6th grade math. What is like terms? Like terms are, let's say, take one of the examples for today, 4n plus 2n plus 9. Here we see that 2n and 4n are of the same because they have an n, but 9 does not have an n. 9 and n are two different terms. Therefore, we combine the like terms that are like each other and simplifying the equation, which paradoxically gives us a simplified equation. So, key question for today: how can this help to write numbers in different ways? And we're going to find that out today. But first, before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be updated by our latest tutoring videos and help support the people that help me put this together. Without further ado, let's get on. So the vocab, we got term, which is any single digit that comes between two mathematical symbols, such as a plus, addition, a subtraction sign, or a multiplication sign. Like terms are one of those that are the same, of the same value, like a n. See here we have two n's, and a coefficient is a number in between a variable. So for instance, if I write here, let's say a 4n, this is the term. The n, that's the term. The 4 is the coefficient, because that is what ultimately determines the value of the n. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so the first example for today, we're going to be combining like terms. So we got 4n plus 2n plus 9. Okay, what do we know? We know that 4n and 2n are very similar because they both, even though the coefficient is not the same, the term is of the same value. Now, notice, if this n was a different number or this n was a different number, they would no longer be like terms, because the variable, if it is a different letter or a different symbol, let's say this is an n but this has a square in front of it, or this is an n but it's up to the power of 3, it would no longer be similar, or they would no longer be like terms. Okay, so now that we know that, let's see. So 4n and 2n. For these n right here's, excuse me, this n right here, they are the same, right? Coefficients are not, but we have to add those coefficients to ultimately get the same thing. So 4 plus 2 we know is 6, so 6n, and that's been combined. So let's circle. I said this in a previous video, I like to circle the variables and square my others. So here we have a 9, right? This is a positive 9 since it has a plus in front of it. So we're going to square that. Now, there is no other whole number without a variable in front of it. So we're just going to put that as plus 9, ultimately giving us 6n plus 9. Now, very important thing. You can't just pull this out the wazoo. You're going to have to figure it out by, doing all of this, excuse me. And we see that why can we not say 2n plus 9 gives us 11n? Why can we not say that? Well, it's simple. Let's put this in simple logical terms. If I have 4 oranges, right? And I'm at a fruit stand, and I have 4 oranges. Or let's put it in this way. I have 2 oranges and I have 9 whatevers, right? Can I add the 9 whatevers to the oranges? In logic, yes, I can. I can have a bowl of fruit, right? But in math, you can't do that. You gotta add what's like to each other, thus giving us combining like terms, which is a very, very, very important thing to know when doing simple algebra and ultimately moving on in high school and doing algebra then. Okay, let's do our other example. Third example. So in parentheses, we have 14y plus x, and then plus 22y. All right. Now, I haven't really talked about this in my YouTube channel, but there's another. Yesterday, recall that we talked about the distributive property, and there are a couple of properties. There's a distributive property, and then there's associative property. Associative property, which I will make a future video on. Associative property is basically rearranging the numbers in order to give you a more simpler way to strategically find the answer or simplify the equation. Now, here we see in parentheses we have a 14y plus an x, right? Now, we don't have anything on here, but what do we know? We have a 1 right here, right? We can say that there's a 1 right there. Thus, if we multiply this out, we can get rid of these parentheses. So let's do that. So we have a 1 right here, right? And the 1 is not going to change the value of any of these terms, but it's going to help us get rid of these parentheses. So we multiply the 1 to the 14 and the 1 to the x. Or sorry, the 1 to the 14y and the 1 to the x. And we get 14y plus x. And then we bring down the plus 22y. Now, let me just say it again. This one was not in the original problem, but we were able to add that because the 1 helps us to get rid of the parentheses without changing the value of each and every single term, okay? Now that that's there, we can just simply combine like terms. So here we have a 14y and we have a 22y, and none of the y's are squared or differently accustomed to anything. So we're going to circle this. And this is a positive, so we're going to have to, and forgot to circle that. Okay, so 14y plus 22y gives us 36y. Yeah. 36y, and then plus x. Because the x, let's just square that for our viewers. The x does not have anything in front of it, or the x has no other term in the equation that will be able to combine together. Okay, our last equation, our last example for today. So 7, 3x plus y. Oh, excuse me. All right. So we multiplied the 7. This is distributive property again, but we're still going to be combining like terms. Recall that in my previous video, we had an example similar to this, but with different numbers. So we multiply the 7 to the 3x and the 7 to the y, and we get 21x plus 7y. And there's no other way you can simplify that because that is the most simplified you're going to get. Now let's move on to the summary. Okay. Summary. Remember to group. Group is very important because if you group, then you get your like terms. That needs to be in your heads. Grouping is very, very important in math. Arrows. More than likely, when you're combining like terms, you're going to have to be dealing with the distributive property. They're like cousins. They go hand in hand. And you're going to have to draw your arrows again, like I showed in my previous video. Link will probably be up top right there. Associative property is what I just talked about. And don't worry, there will be a future video about the associative property, which I will be doing somewhere in the near future. And remember, the associative property is what we did in the second example where we rearranged it so that we could add 14y and 22y together. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been my video on combining like terms for 6th grade math. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. And until then, I'll see you.